Okay, and then the other thing I want to talk about real quick before we go is the Disc Golf Pro Tour acquiring Jomez. I've watched Smashbox, I watched Upshot, and initially it feels like this could be a good thing. And it could be a good thing, but I don't think it's a good thing how people think it's a good thing. I honestly think that we're going to see post-produced full tournament coverage fall away, and I think it's going to fall away faster than some people think. I know that, in fact, I thought it was very clever with Jeff Springs, and I'm not dogging on him. I can see his position, but he was asked about what would Jomez look like in 3 years, and he specifically answered, it'll be the same. Nothing will be changed. We have no plans to make changes in 3 years. In other words, he answered his question, but then it's still left for interpretation. To me, is like, I think we're going to see changes in 2024. Not drastic changes, but I have a feeling that it's very similar to, say, like a Facebook Meta buying Instagram, in the sense that not much changes at the beginning, but Facebook Meta buys Instagram for its potential and its technology. There's a lot of companies out there that want to buy the smaller companies because they don't want to spend the money. It's much cheaper to buy a company than spend the money on research and development and wait for them to be able to acquire the technology. They'd rather buy the smaller company, gobble up their technology and use it, apply it to the bigger company, and then kind of let the smaller company, in a sense, not fall away, but not be as relevant. And I have a feeling that's what's going to happen with Jomez, not in the sense of, I don't want to, like, I know people are like, oh, Jomez, but like the whole post-produced coverage thing.
So let me ask you this really quick, because you said post-produced full round coverage drops off. Do you mean like the full tournament? So when we get the Disc Golf Pro Tour 4-hour long video that comes up, or DGN rather, but we'll still get the Jomez, one card follow the entire round?
I think that will fall away.
Okay, you think we're going to lose that?
Not necessarily in 2024.
But 20, okay.
25 or 26. In other words, yes, like right now, let's say JomezPro Open, right? Mm-hmm. There's the live coverage of each round, FPO, MPO, and then you could turn around and go to Jomez and you could watch every round, 45-minute full round, holes 1 through 18, right?
Yeah.
That product, I believe, is going to go away. That product I believe what'll happen is they will take the talent and the resources and the intellectual property that works for Jomez, put it into the live. Live will become a better product, and people will then start watching more live. And then the audience for the post be like, well, I already got a lot of the interesting stories, really cool slow motion, really great graphics. I got to see more than just the top 2-3 cards. You know what I'm saying? In other words, creating a show.
Yep, I totally get it.
Why would I want to watch the tournament, the post-produced tournament? I've already talked to people that are leaning that way. I've already watched part of the live. They may not watch every round, but I already watched the last 9 holes of the last round. I know who won. Why would I go watch Jomez? And so again, I'm not taking a stab at Jomez. I'm taking a stab at post-produced coverage. I think that's going to fade away.
And I don't even think you're taking a stab at them. I think you're expressing some concern in losing a friend that you really care about, and maybe you don't get to hang out with all the time, but you love them being there.
Right.
And I'll say I feel the same. That's kind of my thought process on it, right? Is everybody complains about the live coverage right now, live stream, and it's because there are a lot of kinks. I was diehard gatekeeper in Jomez post-produced coverage for a while, and then I got Disc Golf Network, and I feel like my partner's grandfather, when we used to go on the beach trips, and he would sit in the back room with PGA on all day long, because I do that now. I live stream. I turn on Disc Golf Pro Tour, and I'll keep it on for the entire day as soon as FPO coverage starts. If I'm at work and I got my dual monitors, I'm watching it. Um, Now it's I feel like they're kind of two different. I'm in two different modes when I'm watching them. When I was watching Jomez or Gatekeeper post round coverage, I'm laid up on the couch. I'm fully in it, and I always love that. Like right before I go back to this one every time, and I don't remember what course it was on, but it was funny because they'll first three guys on the card will throw, and then all of a sudden you go into the backstory of Gavin Rathbun, and then Gavin Rathbun threw his first drive OB, and it was like, damn, we spent all that time learning about the guy. I was pulling for him, but you really get roped into that 35 minutes of hole 1 through 9, and then you skip to the next video for it. So if that goes away, I will 100% definitely miss it. Now, play devil's advocate a little bit, since I
Sure,
have
yeah.
started watching Disc Golf Network, and I'm streaming these tournaments live. the I might not watch it all on Friday and Saturday. I'm just
Right.
getting the pieces that I can. But come Sunday, I'm focused on watching those final rounds. And if I really love a player, if it's somebody that I'm real interested in, or you hear about, I don't know, something that happened on the back nine, I'm going back and watching Jomez. But yeah, knowing what happened does take a little bit of the excitement out of it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be I think it'll be a sad day if it does go away. But the flip side of that coin is live streaming is going to get that much better. So that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of the general majority audience is going to want the live product, and then the super diehard, not necessarily Jomez fans, but super diehard golf people are
Hmm.
going, disc golf people are going to watch some of the post produced. But even then, I think the product is going to change completely in the sense that live will be the main product, and then the post-produced stuff will become more of the highlights, the story stuff. But then, of
Yeah.
course, that's going to lend to the live show. And yeah, I just think and that's not. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think it's just a thing.
It's growing pains.
Yeah, and I mean, we equate to big sporting events like the Super Bowl or Masters, where all of the story is being told in the live production or leading up to the live production. And I have the Masters going. I'm not a golf watch. I haven't watched the golf match since the Masters. But the Masters is just such a cool thing that I like to watch it or have it in the background while I'm working on stuff or cleaning or doing other stuff. I like to watch it and see what happens. I like to watch the drama unfold. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think the general audience is going to be live, and then the post produced won't necessarily be post produced tournament coverage, but rather post-produced commentary or sports center type stuff, or
Yeah.
or reels and TikTok of certain plays and people breaking down certain shots and stuff like that. I think that's what it'll turn into. So
Yeah. Well, two things that are happening that I think Jomez will be able to, if we don't see the post-produced rounds, other bits of coverage or other things that I think that they're bringing to us now and will continue to bring to us, like the stuff that Joey Tamale does on the side with, what was the one with Simon? Was it called Hitting the Lines, where Simon went and
yeah,
visited a couple
yeah.
different courses? The Paul Macbeth stuff. I mean, the Disc Golf Pro Tour on tour series, that was awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. They just did Paul Ulibarri from scratch to skins or something. I can't remember what it was, but he took, the guy's a sports analyst, doesn't play disc golf, and Paul wants to see if he can, get his skills up to play in a scratch match.
Yeah.
And that's secondary kind of media that Jomez does an amazing job on. And I think, I did read one of the articles too, and Jeff Spring gives Jonathan Gomez credit as like one of the smartest marketing or media minds in disc golf right now, and being really excited to see what he does. And hopefully, hopefully the Disc Golf Network and Disc Golf Pro Tour allows Jonathan to do that, because over the course of, I don't know how long Jomez has been, however long they've been, or he and his now rather large team have been putting together post-produced content like OGs for sure. Like
Yeah.
great stuff.
No, yeah, man. I don't know Jonathan that well, but we do go back to the beginning days. I remember because I remember I was producing tournament coverage DVDs for Dynamic Discs, and I was going to. Remember being on the phone with. I just lost his name. People did not like him. He was he started Disc Golf Planet.
Is
What's his
that's
name?
I don't want to put it. I don't know all of them like that. But was it guy? Oh, I don't know. Never mind.
I was doing video work for PDGA. He was at one time, I think, the marketing guy. Dusler. That's what it is.
Okay.
Dusler. John Dusler. Anyway, I remember talking to him on the phone saying, I think I'm going to buy an RV and I'm going to travel around and I'm going to go to big events and do disc golf coverage. And he was like, maybe he was kind of, trying to help me figure this out. At the time I was married with two kids and it was a crazy idea. And then I was like, well, I'll just go to some of the dynamic disc events and I'll create DVDs. And then Jonathan went and put put tournament coverage. I was like, how am I supposed to sell DVDs if somebody's putting out coverage on YouTube? And so anyway, I remember back in the days of that, and that was pretty interesting. So anyway, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and you bring up the YouTube piece. Like when I started playing disc golf in 2019, I had known about it before, so I definitely had watched some stuff online, probably, the craziest ace runs and this and that. But Jomez was one of the first ones that I found, and having that coverage was so cool. I mean, it felt so much more intimate and personal than turning on a baseball game, just kind of the cameras being that close to the players. And I got to run into Jonathan one time and, I just walked up to him and was like, hey, dude, thanks so much for what you're doing, because like watching the coverage is what really got me hooked on the sport and, the background stories too. And then, we talked a lot about Jomez, but I want to give a little shout out to Gatekeeper Media, because I am friends with Derek Skull, who's one half of Gatekeeper Media. I think they have put out some pretty amazing coverage too. And one thing that I think is really cool that they're working on, just to kind of open up the idea to more post-round coverage. But I know that they're working on, they're getting over to like Sweden and starting to work on some European tour coverage. And,
that's
and
fantastic.
I guess they're supporting the Swedish Pro Tour. So, there's a lot happening in the United States with the Disc Golf Pro Tour, but there's also a slew of players from Europe that are starting to travel, because you have to play the Disc Golf Pro Tour in the United States to really, I think, to compete with the best players in the world. But there's a lot of talent from overseas that we're going to get to see coverage of soon, and I think that's really exciting too.
Nice. Well, I'll make one more point. I'll kind of go back to what you said earlier about the secondary type of coverage and footage. I think that is just as important to the drama and the storytelling of disc golf and our players than the post-produced tournament coverage. I watched what was it called on Netflix? What was it called? I think it's called Full Swing. And they followed a lot of the top players in golf. And I watched that series. I thought it was interesting. And it made me enjoy watching disc or golf tournaments much better, because I had some vested interest in a player. Like, I know that guy struggles with family and money and stuff. I know this guy struggles with being on top and then not being on top anymore. And so watching him play and not do well is like, gosh, dude, that's so, anyway, I knew the story. So Jomez creating that type of secondary stuff, or anybody creating that type of is so important to the growth of the sport, because it's going to be the guy that barely play. I mean, I got a guy I play disc golf with, Braxton, good buddy of mine. We play disc golf maybe once or twice a month. on a Saturday. I'll ask him about certain things going on in the disc golf world as far as players. He don't care. He doesn't care. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that sounds great. But he still loves disc golf because he loves getting out. He loves throwing disc. He knows he likes his disc and stuff like. But to have those type of shows would make him have more vested interest in it, and I think he would connect better with the live coverage that's out there. So anyway.